Hi, I'm back. So, Jesus, I'm CJ, and last time I tuned in with you, I tried to do a marathon on the track. And as probably many of you saw, the result of that was pretty bad. But that's okay, because now it means we've officially moved into summer training for cross country. It'll be my final one, most likely. Please pass that 5th year D2, please. With it being the final year, definitely want to put my best foot forward and train the best I can over the summer. But that doesn't mean training as hard as possible. It means training smart and not trying to get hurt, because I tend to do that every single year. I just want to come on here and do a nice little recap of the last 3-4 weeks of training, depending on when I actually want to, get the rest of the clips for this and edit it. Just show you guys how life has been training and maybe talk about a couple other things that I've just been up to for the last couple of weeks. This place probably has worse echo, if I'm being honest, but not professional. So the point of these first couple of weeks of training is just base building. You don't want to start out too hot, because you start out too hot, that's how you get hurt. That's the most important part about training for a cross country season. It's not getting hurt and building fitness and mileage at the same time. Every single year, I've done a pretty kind of rapid progression in how much mileage I'm doing. First year I started out and I think I was doing a max of 30 to 35 miles in a week. And honestly, I don't know how that first season worked out so well for me. I'll put PRs right here. And then next year, I think I got up to about 55 or maybe 60. And then, that season was not so good. And then junior year just happened and I got up to 75, 80 miles before the season had truly begun. This year, I'm not honestly going up that much. I'm going up to probably about 90, is at least what I want to do. And it's always good to have those goals and aspirations to increase mileage, but sometimes things don't always work out the way you want them to do. So if we're doing lessons, lesson number 1, summer training does not always go the way you want it to do. And most of the time it never will. I've been blessed for these last couple of weeks that the weather outside has been pretty decent and not too hot. And also to have a treadmill that if it does get too hot outside, I can just go on that. But it's been pretty good these last few weeks weather-wise, which is great for the confidence. But sometimes things don't obviously work out like that. So summer training can be difficult with that. It can be very difficult to find the motivation to get out there every single day, dang near, and do what you gotta do to improve, especially when you're doing everything solo. That's the one consequence of being home for the summer, is that I don't have my teammates here. I do majority of my training, if not all of my training, over the summer alone, which honestly isn't a bad thing for me. For some people, a lot of people don't like that. They need training partners, people to keep them accountable. That's fine. You guys are okay in my book. But personally for me, I'm perfectly fine with doing my training alone. So motivation is also one big thing. So week 1 was just getting back into the swing of things. I knew I wanted to start it midway through what my mileage was going to be. I ended up hitting 50 miles my first week, which is whatever. Not bad. It's a great starting out point. Could I start a little slower? Yeah. But the point is that I didn't burn myself out in the first week. Also, I did a couple of workouts, but number one thing that I did my first week that was probably a problem, but it's okay, is that I did stuff while I was sick. Don't do that. There was no reason for me to, but for some reason, something in my mind told me it's okay to do workouts while you're not feeling 100%, or running while you're not feeling 100%. Not even 100%. I felt like 30%. I was coughing up everything for probably about a week, that entire week almost. So that was great, and probably shouldn't have done that, but thankfully we've moved past that. That's not advice I would give. Being resilient is important, but when your body is telling you, I don't like whatever you're doing, please stop, you should stop. That's another lesson right there. But clearly I haven't learned too well from my lessons, so maybe I should be a little more accountable. And it's whatever. So week 2, I was in the Great Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. Not for the entire week, just for Memorial Day weekend. and great time running there. And it was less hilly than it is around here, which was fantastic. I think at that point I had done 1 or 2 true workouts, and then had done some mini workouts. Actually, go back to that first week and show the run right here. I did a long run. Excuse me. I did a long run of like a little under 12 miles. I knew the point of this run was I want to start doing quality long runs. And what that means is that I want the long runs to not be purely aerobic, and I want the latter half of those runs to be faster into that tempo-ish effort, just to simulate moving fast with fatigue under your legs. Because that's one big thing that I haven't necessarily done consistently in any of my summers worth of training. And I think that is one part of my running that is bad. Later in those cross-country races, I'm moving up, but not as much as you think. I'm only moving up because I may have started out better than everybody else, except for one race at Houghton. We don't talk about that blow up. But most of the other time, I'm moving up because other people went out too fast and I didn't. But instead of that, I want to start moving up at the end of the races because I actually have more to give, not because I am also dying alongside everybody else, just did it slower. So I did a workout that first week, and it probably was not the best thing to do. So that long run was about 12 miles, and I think it ended up being about like 6:30 effort. I have no idea. I'll put up the screenshot right next to me. And I did that run in the Nike Zoom Fly 6. That has no importance of this, but tempo shoe. The point of this run was to do tempo the last couple of miles. And I was sick still. And my heart rate might have like creeped up into like the 190s. I think I may have peaked at 199. I naturally just have a high heart rate for some reason. Don't know why, but that's not a good idea. Don't do that. Because I was sick still. So I'm like coughing up. My dad's behind me. He's biking. And he probably was like, what is going on? I mean, I didn't look like I died. I'll be honest. The workout really wasn't that bad. It's just that it didn't fit the purpose of what I wanted these long runs to be. So I had a come to Jesus moment with myself. If you want to keep training good, you don't always have to push things to 100%. It's another lesson. I don't know which number lesson that is, but we're probably gonna have a lot of these. It's another lesson. Training doesn't always necessarily need to be hard. Sometimes it's good to go out of training, of a workout or a long run feeling like, you know what? I probably had a little bit more to give, because then you come into tomorrow on like your easy run and you're not doing an easy run because you're hurt or just really tired. You're doing an easy run because you acknowledge that the recovery is needed. That should be it. You do your recovery runs for actual recovery. You don't do your recovery in easy days because you're hurting so bad and that's the only pace that you can do. So that's one important thing I'm definitely taking into account this summer. So moving into week 2, it was nothing. I did 44 miles and I did a nice hike of Rainbow Falls in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Great Smoky Mountains. So that week, especially since it's week 2, there's no reason to be doing such high mileage early on in a training block. That's not really a lesson. I think most people know that. You don't jump up immediately. That's how you get hurt. That's what we call in the gaming community inconsistent and high, I think. Would that be considered inconsistent and high? Yeah, it would be considered inconsistent and high if you did that and immediately came down off the mountain. If your Strava graph looks like this, you're inconsistent and high. If it looks like Patagonia, it's inconsistent and high. So that week I didn't do a workout. I did one earlier in the week. I believe I did 6 by 1 minute on, 1 minute floats. And purpose of that workout, fartlek style workout, doing about 8K, 10K, a little bit under that pace. I guess goal 8K, 10K pace for the minute on. And then the floats were like 6:30, 6:40 pace effort. Really just like an up-tempo, easy run. A moderate pace, I guess is the better word. The point of that workout is to, of course, just get the legs moving, especially since we're so early on. Getting, building up the lactic and being able to handle that lactic acid at paces again, and just getting back into the groove of things. Because week 3 is when things really started to click off. So week 3 started off, I was still in Tennessee at the start of week 3. So that Monday I had done a moderately easy, not very easy. It was easy. Whatever, man. I did a moderate long run of about 11.7 miles or something. And there was no reason to do that. And I guess that's one more lesson. Train with purpose. Don't just go outside and run. If you're training, if you just want to go outside and run, just go outside and run. But if you're training, train with purpose. Know what you're doing and how it's actually supposed to impact you. Don't just go out and do things just because you can do things. And that was a run where I kind of just did things. The plan wasn't to make it a quality long run, but I guess it ended up being, and it wasn't too difficult either. It was, I want to say it was about like a 6:40 pace run, if not maybe a little bit slower. So I guess it really wasn't that bad in the grand scheme of things. It was just probably quicker than I really wanted it to be, or it should have been. Quicker than it should have been, but I was feeling good. The first real workout of that week was, I think it was tempo. I believe it was tempo. I believe one of the days I did 3x5 minute at tempo with 90-second jog rest. And that workout is exactly how it sounds. The purpose is to do tempo work, and I believe tempo ended up being 5:20 pace. I believe, yeah, ended up being 5:20 pace. And for that workout, still used the Zoomfly 6. You would think about how often I talk about this shoe, seeing as I mentioned it twice now that I would love this shoe. Honestly, I like my Magic Speed 4 better, but it's okay. It was a good shoe, and it's still holding up very well. Like, you wouldn't even tell, actually. You can check the toe right there. But otherwise, the lugs on it are not too smoothed out. So honestly, it's a pretty durable shoe for having almost about 300 miles on it. Yeah, did that workout, and that was a very telling workout for me. So the reason why it was a telling workout for me is because this summer has seemed a lot different, and this may be the point of the video. For some reason, I am now finally feeling aerobically mature, which is odd, because you would think I would feel like this sooner, given the things I have already done and how long I've been doing cross country for since my freshman year of high school. For some reason, this summer feels different. I don't know what it is, but the aerobic side of running, and not just running fast, feels good, which is not a normal thing for me, but it's a very welcome change, don't get me wrong. So I was doing that workout, clicking off efforts, 5:20. I believe that's 40 seconds per 200. I'm doing this on a concrete track. I'll get to that in a second. Doing this on a concrete track, so there is no markers for 200 or 400. I kind of just put my water bottle down at 400 and kind of assumed when I was halfway around. But looked at my watch, and you can see 5:20 effort, pretty nice. And I finished that workout, and it's like, I am glad that it seemed like I could give another 1-2, made this a 5x5 minute with 90-second jog. And I probably would have been less okay, but I still would have been okay. And I compared that back to the workouts I had done previous at this time, and I see that these are kind of workouts that I did in like July, like late July, which is interesting. And I'm also performing at those workouts much better. It's just crazy to see the progression over the course of a year, given that the end of this track season was phenomenal, but so was the end of last track season. My 1500 had only gotten about a second and a half better, and my 800 had gotten also about maybe a second and a half better. So to see that level of progression coming off of very similar track seasons is interesting. I guess it's because the cross country season went so well, but you don't hold that type of fitness for that long. I'm getting a little bit distracted. So after that tempo workout, it was pretty much easy runs, and easy run. And one thing I've noticed about my easy runs this time around, they have also been a little bit faster, which is probably not the best thing in the world if they were purposely faster, which they're not. I'm not intentionally going under 7:30 pace average on these runs, sometimes just being in the 650s just to be there, or purposely doing it. And I'm really hoping that my body holds up well doing it, because that's kind of just how easy feels. Today was probably the first truly easy run that I did, and it was like 640 pace. And I felt really, really slow. Granted, the heart rate data showed that it was probably an easy run. Still conversational in both of those aspects. I'm still getting distracted. What was I talking about? Man, this is bad. I remember what I was talking about. Next workout was 7 by 1 minute on, 1 minute float, and it served the same purpose as before. But the difference was, there was no difference. Still on the same concrete track. Still on the, actually, no, I didn't do that in the Zoom Fly. No, yes I did. Sorry. I forget things sometimes. Still did it in the Zoom Fly 6. You know, I'm making a really good argument for this actually being a good shoe. You know what? Scrap everything I've said bad ever about the Zoom Fly 6. Is this a 6, right? Yes, it is. Scrap everything bad I said about it. It's actually a pretty good shoe. It's just definitely meant for workouts. Do not easy run in this shoe. There's no point. Next day, surprisingly, I had this thought with myself, is that I definitely wanted to do another progression run, style workout, long run in this week. It's something that I want to keep doing about every other week. Not every week, because I think that's going to be too much on my body. Maybe later on in the training block, we start doing it more consistently. I know that's kind of part of my coach's plan. And sorry, Coach Pete, I know I deviate from the plan a little bit. It's just I try to make some slight adjustments that I think will work for me better. And also, I'm just stubborn. So yeah, this workout ended up being 12 miles with a 2-mile warm up. And it was a cut down from 2 miles to 8 miles. Yeah, it was a cut down from 2 mile to about 4 mile or 5 mile. And then it was a steady, like a little bit above tempo effort. It was like 5:50, 5:45 pace from mile 4 to like mile 10. Mile 5 to mile 10. Something like that. I had the graph right here. And that workout was really interesting. And I think it was one of my best runs that I've ever done, or best long run progression I've ever attempted. Because it's not like I haven't done something like this before, but usually those workouts end up with me absolutely blowing up at the end and having like blood on my shoes from working so hard and everything going wrong. It was really fun. I did it around the airport around here. It was really nice because there was a bunch of bikers going by and it was great. Started getting caught in the slipstream behind people on bikes. I don't know if there was some type of race going on the bikes, but like I was running with them while they were biking and it was pretty awesome. But finishing that run and going on the about 2 mile cool down that I did afterwards, it was another proof to me that something is different about this training block and it's really nice. Like I said before, I don't know what exactly it is. And I'm hoping to figure it out, and I'm hoping it keeps on going well. But at the end of that run, I was like, wow, that felt great. That was definitely one of my better runs, and we're in week 3 of this training block, and I feel like I'm in previous summer, like July, maybe mid-July fitness. So definitely going to keep on doing that on my plan, and keep on trying to be smart about it. Because I think I need to not be gun-ho about how well training is going right now. Yes, stacking 3 weeks of good training is honestly not that difficult, especially in May when the weather here is not that bad. When we start getting to June, July, August, that's when things really start getting bad. Then we get even more humidity, some 95, 100 degree days last summer, where gonna have to use this bad boy for workouts, and things don't always go as smooth. But really thankful for the 3 weeks that I've had so far. What it's kind of shown me, that being smart about your training is a lot more important than you would ever think. Being intentional about your training is more important than you would ever think. And really knowing what you're doing and what you're doing it for is important. Yeah, that's what I was thinking to myself at the end of that run. It's like, it's a good run. I can't wait to do it again. But I know that I probably shouldn't rip another long run like that so soon. So let's talk about the future of training. So I have no idea when I'm going to do the next video of this, part 2, I guess. Probably do this monthly. And at that point, this week, we're coming up on week 4. I just finished week 3, 55 miles. So we've done 50 down to 44 because I did a hike on the last day instead of run, and now we're up to 55. This week, hoping to do around 55 to 60. Shouldn't be a problem. And then I would say over this next month, we're probably gonna go from 60 miles to 75, maybe 70. We might do 60, 65, come down 70. Because down week is something new to me that I also want to do during the summer intentionally, and actually have weeks where I'm doing less, absorb the fitness, give myself time to recover, instead of just the Strava graph looking like an exponential increase. Yeah, that's one important thing that I want to do. So hopefully in a month that we're going to be at that point hitting about 70, maybe 75 miles, probably 70, because that'll be end of June, 70 miles. That seems pretty good to me, at least at this point. With workouts at that point, it's going to be probably about the same. I see the minute on, minute offs evolving into probably about 10 minute or 1 minute on, 1 minute float times 10, and that the tempo probably goes to 5 by 5 minute at tempo with like 2 minutes off or 2 minute jog. That's why I see it going to. And then the long runs, I guess I need to think about more about the progression of those, if they're even going to be a progression, because they're already tempo efforts that are lasting about 40 minutes per se, probably about 40-minute tempo efforts already. And I don't know if I really want to go much beyond that at this point. So honestly, if within the next 2 of those, they'll probably be just about the same if I had to guess. Just maybe trying to see what tempo is at that point and see if they get a little bit faster, I guess. But if not, they're still really good, long, continuous tempo efforts, so you really can't complain. But there's also one new goal that I have for this training block. I'm realizing this is going to be a really long video. Whatever. Who the heck watches this far? If you watch this far, I don't know, comment something. The word something. So there's a 10K on the 4th of July going on around me. So I think I actually want to do it this year. Apparently it's been going on for however long it has been going on, multiple years. I just actually never knew about it until after it had happened last year. And I was like, dang, maybe I would want to do that. This year, I think I'm actually going to do it. And I think I'm not doing it for a time, because my best in the 10K is 32:16. And I did that at regionals my freshman year, which means I haven't had a faster 10K than that in 3 years. So you can see why I might want to actually have a PR in it, but I'm realizing it really doesn't matter, because 1, it's going to be July, and 2, it's going to be quite hilly. Like I mentioned before, the hills around me are quite devious at times. Maybe not the most devious, but they impact you. And during a 10K race, I can't assume that they would be fun. So really the purpose of that race is to keep the mindset of being able to go out and compete, because that's missing from this training block, especially with not really having training partners or anything, not really head-to-head competition. Having a race like that to look forward to in the middle of a block could be really important for me, and just reigniting the competitive spirit, see where I'm at a little bit. I don't know exactly what I really want to run at that point. I think sub 33 would be good. I think sub 33 would be good given the possible conditions and the hills. If I run faster, I run faster. If I run a little bit slower, I run a little bit slower. But I think sub 33 is probably a little bit a little bit of a goal that's going to be beneficial to me. And that's where I see the next 4 weeks of training going. So that's kind of all I really wanted to say for this video. Probably going to end up being really long when I cut it down and stuff. Just yapping away in my basement. But just wanted to definitely keep the content up and give you guys a little bit of something in the life of CJ in this training block, because it's going to be my last season and I'm trying to make it the best one that I can make it for my team, myself, and make sure I don't disappoint. So yeah, that's it. Oh, actually, if you watched this far, let me know. Well, you probably don't have to let me know, because honestly, that video will probably be up before this one. I think I'm gonna start doing shoe reviews. I've really gotten into the shoe game as of late. I mean, not as of late. I've been thinking about the shoes that I've been wearing for a long time. As you can see by the amount of shoes on the retired list and everything on my Strava. But I want to start doing some reviews. Definitely starting out with probably the Asics Super Blast 2 that I got 1,000 miles on as of not too long ago. Sadly, they're gone now though, because I could not get the smell away from them. So they just had to go, because they were not going to be sitting anywhere in my room and not anywhere else in this house. So they are gone now, but I may do a review of those first. And I have a couple other shoes like the Asics Dynablast 5. I got that recently. And also the shoe that I talked about probably the most in this video, the Zoom Fly 6. I can do a review of that. From Merrell Premium, not Merrell Premium, Merrell Plus, and a couple other ones. So let me know if you want to see that. Actually, your opinion really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I'm gonna do it anyways. See y'all next month.